Hello, everybody. Welcome. Rose is like investigator. Hello, huh. Everybody, welcome. Rose is psychic investigator. So, guys, if you have followed me for many years, I used to have glasses just like this. The glasses are just frames, right? Costume frames, and they broke. I only had one pair. And I fixed them. Then I like one part broke. Then it just got broken into several pieces. But recently, I was able to find one for sale, and I bought it off of eBay. I I was not, I've been looking for because I know people would be interested in maybe buying this type of thing off of me. But I haven't been able to find the exact ones. I've seen it for sale in like gold or different colors. But something about the silver is just perfect. Okay. I think it has to be silver. And I have not been able quite to find it quite yet. But anyway, so these are my handcuffs, 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 handcuffs. So just thought we would have a conversation about this. Okay. All right. So interesting information, because this video's topic is going to be related, related to, to informations about crimes, informations. No, really. Let's do the protection because there's a lot to discuss today. I like to ask for protection. A beautiful ray of light coming on top of my head. As I breathe in, I fill my lungs. As I breathe out, I create a circle. I create a circle. I step into it. I step into it. I feel protected. I step into it. I feel connected. I like to ask that information come only from the highest sources, that it create the good and only the good. Good for the good people. Good for the good people. So let's go to the news. Now this is a little it's we're back on the business section, but I think it's important that we address it because and it's like I could see that something, I'm sure that there are others, of course, who probably thought there was something strange going on here. And so if you have followed the Trump administration, this is the top. I subscribe to the Financial Times, so I can share some information with you. And as you know, welcome if you haven't watched this channel before. My name is Rosie, and I cover the news from an intuitive perspective. And I source it from websites such as this one. Okay, now so let's go. So before this came out, this information came out. So I think it was last week or Friday or something. The Business News reported that Netflix was had announced a deal to buy Warner Brothers, right? And I am a Netflix subscriber, as are many people. And actually deleted it, but I received an email saying, welcoming Warner Brothers into our, family or whatever, right? And and so Netflix, the CEO, is it the CEO? I think he is. Ted Sarandos. So Ted Sarandos is the CEO of Netflix, and he's also famously a Democratic donor. Okay. So we know that trash is all and his era is all about controlling the public conversation. And and so I was like, oh, interesting. It went through. I thought to myself, because this is the type of thing that Trump would have an issue with. And now today it comes out. that that Paramount gatecrashes Warner Brothers Netflix deal with, and now I'm reading here, right, with 108 billion hostile bid. And why is it okay? What is strange? What's the problem with it, right? It's that we know that that's connected to the Ellisons, right? Larry Ellison's son, and they want to do this monopoly conglomerate in Hollywood. The other interesting thing that also related to this, to the like, okay, the other interesting thing that's related to this that is not about this particular merger is that Oracle, which is the parent company that made money for his dad, Larry Ellison, Oracle is very involved in the AI bubble, and they have a lot of debt. They have incurred a lot of debt as a result of their investments in data centers and the entire and stuff like that. So I think they're in real trouble, and I think this bubble is going to explode at some point. And I wonder how this is going to affect these companies because one thing that I find very interesting about the rights ownership of all these media companies that they lose money actually. For example, I used to be a subscriber of Washington Post, and then as soon as they put in the guy who used to, conservative guys, this was like I think a couple of years ago, I stopped subscribing, and I know a lot of people have stopped subscribing. The same thing with them, for example, um, MSNBC, right? I used to listen to and watch it, whatever, from time to time. And now I never do anymore. Now and then what we saw is that the rise of all these independent channels that probably make a lot of money on YouTube, like number one, Midas Touch. Because why? Because they are ignoring, they prefer to not make money. This is how relevant it is for those fascist people. It's more important for them to control the narrative than it is to make money. In this case, does it make sense? So this is how serious this is for them. This is why it matters so much because communications in all these deals will influence the public conversation. Okay. So like I said, it had been announced that Netflix had done, I think they had finished a deal with um, Warner. Okay. And then today, Jared Kushner comes in with all these people as one of the the people who are helping, um, like the Ellisons do a takeover. Essentially forcing the hand, like forcing out. Let's actually read this. All right. So let's read this. All right. Okay. So Paramount gate crashes Warner Brothers Netflix deal with 108 billion hostile bid. Jared Kushner Middle East funds assist with all cash offer. Okay. Partner, oh, that's right. The all cash offer for the whole of Warner Brothers includes its studio streaming and cable businesses, values the media group at $30 a share. Paramount said it was offering $18 billion more in cash, with chief executive David Ellison criticizing Netflix's inferior proposal. The Ellison family and Redbird Capital had committed to backstop the entire $40.7 billion of equity capital required for the deal, Paramount said, adding that financing would also come from Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi, and Qatar sovereign wealth funds, as well as from Kushner's affinity partners. Following a 3-month auction process, which was kicked off by Paramount's initial bid for WBD, Netflix last week sealed an $82.7 billion deal to buy the media giant studio assets behind Harry Potter and the DC Comics franchise and its HBO Max streaming service. WBD on Monday said its board would carefully review and consider Paramount's Skydance software, but said it was not modifying its recommendation with respect to the agreement with Netflix. WBD's shares rose 4.4% higher on Monday, while Paramount jumped 9%. Netflix shares fell 3.4%. Netflix deal, which would reshape Hollywood by putting a technology company at the helm of one of the most famous studios, had drawn the ire of powerful unions and the attention of the US president, who said on Sunday he would be involved in reviewing the transaction. Like, what does that mean, right? Corruption. Okay. The agreement valued WBD's studio and streaming assets at 27.75 a share. It excluded its cable assets such as Discovery and CNN, which it plans to spin off next year. So we don't need every single detail. Um, all right. Okay. So the question I want to know here, the answer that I want to know is about how, like, first of all, if because we know that again, this is a fascist government media conglomerate situation, and will they be? I mean, I think anything is possible now with the level of corruption with Trump administration, right? Now we have Jared Kushner first meddling in the Middle East and then dealing with Russians, and now here he is. It's like where he is, the crime is, right? But let's see what's going to happen. Okay, so Paramount is seeking to win over WBD with shareholders by fueling doubt about Netflix's ability to secure antitrust approval. The streaming company said it would need 12 to 18 months to win regulatory consent, which Paramount on Monday called an unrealistic assumption. The strength of the rival bids will hinge on how WBD shareholders perceive the antitrust risk from each proposal, the potential value of its cable assets, and the upside of owning Netflix stock. WBD shareholders have until January 8th to vote on Paramount's tender offer, but the deadline can be extended. So again, I think this is a very important situation, very important event. So let's ask what's going to happen. So is Jared like it doesn't make sense. I think it's so messed up that they want created this like monopoly of like the Ellison family owning all of like these companies. And so and of course, right? Of course Trump this is very much like his type of thing to prevent a company that is not conservative from having freedom of speech, really essentially that's what it is. So what's going to happen here? Okay, because I saw that the sentence that Trump said that he would review the deal directly. To me, that's a threat. And that's a sign that it's a corruption thing. So what's going to happen here? What's going to happen so January 8th, they vote. They're going to vote on this. So what's going to happen? What's the situation like? Show me. So okay, so the first image I see is like a conference table, and Jared has this bag. Well, have you seen when money is transported? Like you have this, I forgot, those little trucks that stop in front of banks, like ATMs or whatever. Um, Something like that type of like they have these canvas type bags, I think. And so Jared has this huge bag, and he's like essentially going to these people to like putting the money in like just there's like piles and piles of money of like bundles of $100 bills and putting like all of this in this bag. And it's like, okay, we have the cash here. And then he cuts a part of the bag, meaning part of they get a cut out of the everything that was collected. And then they're like, here's the money to buy the thing. And then because of his, he was he has a finder's fee, another way for Trump to get a cut of the corruption. So then I see that I do think that the guy from Netflix Sarandos is like really sad because there's not much that he can do. And really that Trump, and he's not willing to basically do corruption with Trump, pay off Trump. And then and that so and this is the situation. Then I see that there may be so the way that these deals work, there's a lot of investment. It's not immediate because these are huge businesses. I kind of feel like part of the money falls through. It has happened in the past. I mean, putting aside the corruption of the Trump family, right? And everything they do, they touch, they want to get a cut out of everything. That sometimes a company could bid for a certain company, but they don't fulfill the part of the deal. I mean, these are huge contracts. There's a lot of demands, a lot of different things. What I think may happen here is that I really think that Netflix could lose. And I think they're not going to fight it because of the threat. They are, the guy can destroy. He's a powerful, corrupt, awful person, and they hate Netflix because it's a liberal content creator type thing. So then I see that I think that this deal may go through for now, but it's going to fall apart very soon. And then I see now, okay, okay, let's see here. Okay, and then I see that this is something I have to ask separately. I think that the thing may be undone, and then the share price for Warner will not collapse, will fall dramatically, and then Netflix may buy it later again. So because I think the Trump administration could collapse, like things could just be um like undone. Another thing I see here is that something is going to happen to the Oracle money, to the Ellisons. I think, guys, let me just let me show you. I think this is going to affect their media situation. Okay, so I wrote down here the question, and I'm going to show you some of the articles about this. So I know this is one of those kind of business focused episodes, okay? But let me show you. This is kind of interesting, actually. This is so I subscribe to both the Financial Times and the Wall Street Journal, but for some reason I like their reporting on Oracle a lot. Okay, so this is when I looked. This is one of some of the newest. The more like there's a lot of articles about Oracle, but this is from last week. No, last week, a couple weeks ago. Here is Morgan Stanley thinks you should short Oracle. In other words, the analysts are probably thinking this is overvalued. Okay. Oracle has emerged as the weakest member of the AI hyperscaler herd, with hedge funds now shorting both its stock and debt. Morgan Stanley's credit analysts think things are going to get even worse. The investment bank's analysts, Lindsay Tyler and David Hamburger, had previously recommended investors buy credit default swaps on Oracle, but hedging the exposure with long positions in its bonds. In other words, a basis trade on the view that the CDS would see the sharpest move on Oracle's deteriorating credit worthiness. And by the way, I know this is maybe a little bit granular, but this is how I am, right? This is those of you who watch me know I'm interested in this. So it may be very granular, but credit default swaps is if you're familiar with the film, the movie, The Big Short, that's what it is, right? So you buy a bet, or you bet that their credit is going to collapse. So this is the same type of, they're betting that this is going to collapse, and that's how you can make money from this. So they're putting their money away in the belief that Oracle is going to collapse. Now they have so much debt. So when you have debt, you issue bonds and you sell these bonds, right? And so that's the problem here. This is about it's going to explode. Okay, it's the bottom line because again, Oracle is the weakest of all the hyperscalers are these large tech companies like Google, Amazon, and Meta so much. It's like they are the ones building up the infrastructure for AI. So it's these huge companies, and a lot of them have different ways of making money. But Oracle is sort of in a tight bind, right? So, and I think in the money from all of the Ellison kids and their companies comes from Oracle. So if Oracle collapses, and let me show you more, there's even more. So this is just a more kind of like business, like financy kind of part of it. But let me show you. Okay, here it is. That's right. So Oracle is already underwater. This is a really great article on its astonishing $300 billion OpenAI deal. Okay. Since September 10th, when Oracle announced a $300 billion deal with a chatbot maker, its stock has shed $315 billion in market value. Okay. So Oracle's astonishing quarter really has cost it nearly as much as one General Motors or two Kraft Heinz. Investor unease stems from Big Red betting a debt finance data farm on OpenAI. Okay, so it's a long story. We don't need to go into those whole, like all the analysis from these business newspapers, but the bottom line is they are in trouble and everybody's seeing it. Wall Street is seeing it. And it's funny because Oracle, right? And the Ellison family is at the center of a lot of the Trump propaganda stuff. And look at who's like with Trump, the likely losers. And you know how there's a whole other conversation to be had here about like, the whole like how the Trump administration is investing in AI, and they're kind of like pushing it down people's throats. But then you see why, because there is a very, very high level of corruption. And if Trump remains in government, it's very likely that we're going to have a collapse of, because again, it's inevitable, this AI bubble, overpriced tech stocks that are very invested in the AI bubble, data centers. Like it's going to collapse, but they're going to try to get the government to bail them out. They already are talking about it. Okay, just so you know. But all of this, like let me tell you guys, I had to get to this point so we can ask this question. So will Oracle's likely downfall due to AI bubble debts impact David Ellison's Hollywood media empire and this merger deal? Because that's what the visions kind of told me. So how is the performance of Oracle going to impact? Okay, really interesting. So it shows me that, like, it shows me Oracle like a like a building, right? They're representing the company. And it shows me Larry Ellison, David Ellison's dad, turning the company like upside down as if it was like a wallet, a coin wallet, to try to like get all the little coins out of. And like they've gotten all the coins out to finance this vision. They have conservative vision. And then I see there's like a tail behind this building, and that's the debt, right? That the bonds and all that. And the thing is going to collapse. It tells me that they may go bankrupt. Like it's going to be a mess for Oracle. And they may become a different company later, but they have basically like they're in so much debt because of this. And as and I see that they will go down, and then I think they're going to lose so much money. It is also going to impact these media companies because they say this guy is not very smart. He's just rich, and they don't know. It will just take a few quarters for the whole thing to unwind. They're going to have to sell all the things they have bought during the Trump administration. So I also see that once the bubble unwinds, right, when the thing is going to collapse. Again, it's not that much needs to much needs to happen very differently. It's that it's already happening, right? All the analysts are talking about this. It's crazy, right? So it's out there. The numbers are public. It's in the balance sheet. So it's saying that this is the whole thing. So it was a mirage. They're saying that, and that Larry Ellison is kind of like I don't think I said the other day he's 90. I think he's in his 80s, but it's like he believes his own, and I really do feel sad for him because he wasn't always like this. He is an intelligent person, and I think he fell for this crap. Guys, I have a bit of a cold, so I put this is a very natural color. No, it's airborne, the busy thing. So anyway, I have to keep drinking. 'Cause, all right, so that's what I saw. That's very interesting. So then how is this going to impact the Warner deal? I had seen before, I didn't tell you this, that I saw that Warner and Netflix had this like strong magnetic connection and that it's not here in Paramount. And they even said it. It's a hostile bid to take over, right? It's not what they wanted. And I think it doesn't have this magnetic force. And I do think though that to me it looks like Netflix is not going to fight it because they want to keep their business, right? They don't want to, they know how powerful Trump is, but I think they will win in the end. There will be a different, okay, situation here. And I think, guys, the amount of crimes that Jared has been involved in is like, it's crazy. You know what I mean? It's crazy. So, all right. So let's see. Let me just do the cards now. All right. Okay. So let's ask that. Now I am going to ask first. I really think that for now, Netflix is going to back down. They're not going to win. Okay. It's pretty obvious. I see here, but let's see. Let's see here on, okay, let's see now. Two columns. Okay, two columns for each. All right. So let's see. On the left is going to be, all right. Let's see. So, so here's going to be Netflix and Warner, which is probably gonna like fall apart. Oh yeah, that's right. Here it is. Justice, and to the right is Paramount and Warner, meaning the one that Trump is supporting. Okay, so now here is interesting, the madness and instability. All right, so then let's see here what's going to happen. Meeting upside down. Okay, wow, attack. Okay, love. All right, servant. Okay. Fish. Mm, which one's gonna go through? Mhm. Okay, official. Yeah, so it shows here we have this, somebody who was in this like tight bounds that they can't get out of the situation, even though it's legal because you have here the King of Swords. Now the reunion, like a meeting, there's a shady meeting here. Now soldier is equivalent to the military, but is also a card of threats. Okay, so that's what it feels like to me. In this particular system, it's a little different than another system. Long story, but here's a lot of money. There's a lot of money, and then the values, some money, and the woman. Honestly, I think it could mean that this is like the woman and the liberal values. Here it is, the priest, meaning the advisors, right? The advisors. Um, yeah, it's interesting because we have the love card again. But here, when we look to the right, we have the love card. Okay, this could be some sort of unit. The key is very important, and then a gift. I think this is the corruption. The servants, the employees, or they said that they were going to help them. The clock, that's the enterprise, answer for the enterprise. And here is an official. Okay, so it to me feels like that's the whole corruption scheme. All right, even though I do think that they are more aligned here on the left. So what will happen to the deal ultimately? How is this going to play out? Like I think it's okay. Let's see how is this going to play out? Let's see. Victory. Wow, deal. Wow, very good. All right, so madness. Okay. All right. Mm, desperation. Sick. Plan. Loyal. Stars. Fight. One more options. Recognized. That's right. Clouds. Well, interesting. The clouds could be even oracle. That's right. So it's interesting. This is the situation as it was before. Now we have a desperate guy with his plans. But ultimately, there's a deal here, Joy. This is a great card here. The friend and the fight. So I feel like I think again, it may eventually end up going to Netflix because what's going to happen to, let's see here, what's going to happen to the Paramount bid? Okay. All right. So what's going to happen to the Paramount bid? Mm, okay. Emperor upside down. Okay. Oh, oh wow. An ending. That's right. Sorrow. Woman. Here, jealousy. That's right. That's right. And remember, it's so funny. Remember the other day I made this card. It was like making fun of Jared, but that's what it is.
Oh no, oh no. Do they think they're gonna succeed? I don't think so. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. I'm Jared. I'm here to make it happen. Okay. No.
Okay, so let's see. What else do we have? Oh, we need the Norman's here. All right, so okay, talking, beginning, ending. Yeah, so we have death here. We have death here. So sorrow, that's right. So I think, like I said, I think the cards can suggest that there's a powerful person here behind it, but ultimately you have death. They're trying to escape something here that worries them. It's jealousy, based on jealousy, but ultimately there's like it doesn't go ahead. Okay, so all right, so this is it. Okay, so that was interesting, and okay, and then just I think I asked about it. So what's going to happen to Jared in 2016? Okay, I think this government is not going to last 2026, 2026. Sorry, 2020. Okay. What's going to happen to Jared in 2026? Because I don't think that this government is going to last much longer, but it'll be interesting to see from the perspective of Jared's feats. Because I think he's going to have to, I mean, the amount of corruption, it's like how many months? A couple months he's back and he's just put his money on all the pots. Okay, so tell me about Jared Kushner in 2026. Okay, so victory comes up. Now, tradition, old woman. Fortune goes down. Okay, so victory of the woman. Let's see one more here. A man goes down. Is that him? Yeah, waiting. It's not gonna happen. Whatever he was expecting. All right, so here's the man. The judge. Surprise. Surprise, Jared. Bear. Ship. Foreign money. Offers. Interesting. So let's see what's going to happen, Jared. Yeah, I think that God willing, whenever this mess ends, they're going to apprehend. They have to arrest him and get the information out of him. I mean, he is involved in all, and it's saying he's been caught in the act in terms of corruption. They have to figure it out, and hopefully, and I see that it may be different than before. You know how we like waited for years. Oh, indicted somebody, we do it all. We have to be more aggressive in getting these people, okay? Because it's very, I mean, the way he was involved in American foreign policy and all that, and money and terrible. So, okay, that's right. So, all right. So let's go. I'm gonna go for now and talk to you soon.